for both the Eastern and the Western Conferences will get to face off against each other just like last season, but that's still a few months away. What isn't that far away, though, is this matchup, as we're getting into it. Finally, it's Our Bad versus the Pittsburg Embers. We do want to, once again, folks, huge apologies for the delay with getting this match started. We're going to try to bring you uninterrupted coverage from here on out. Let's get into it.
We will try our damnedest, as we are going to have the bans. As again, if you guys are... What? Okay. What? No ban? What's happening? Oh, Marcio.
That's, I love how everybody just insta-locks, like, knock.
Okay.
And
All right, so quick explanation of what happened there, ladies and gents. Yep, we understand. It's okay. Anyways, so a little bit of rehost going to happen real quick, guys. No, just a quick adjustment on the format there, so not to place too much blame, but when you add round history, you have to also add the bans. So he's going to have to figure out exactly what they want banned out on each side and then ban them accordingly for the map.
So they're probably just going to manually do a ban phase.
Yeah, so they're just going to ask him real quick.
So we won't be able to... So we won't see it live, guys, because you just got to confirm as well by production. So they're just going to manually do a ban phase off the game real quick, and then they'll go back in-game for the actual match, so we'll see the bans when we go into the first round.
What would you ban on Coastline? I think you've played enough Siege. What would you personally ban on Coastline? What op do you think is just so good on Coast, or just so good overall that he needs to be removed for this game?
I think Echo, personally.
Okay.
I think there's too much room for yokais to like mess with the plant on this map because it's so utility focused on execute that in the large amount of executes that result in a plant, you're going to see a smoke or even just like a gas grenade blocking a vision pane, meaning that the yokai drone can hide in that. He can be in the midst of it or be near it, and more likely attackers aren't going to be able to spot it. So considering that, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult to deal with those in those situations on a map like Coastline compared to some of the others where you may not have as much of like a utility focused execute going on, just because you may have like some hard destruction that's happened and that may give you a better window to use it, and therefore Echo may not be as big of a deal because you might actually have the time to like scope him out instead of be surrounded by particle effects in the middle of the execute, as you often have to be on Coastline.
I agree with you. I think I'll flip the script. So we'll talk about offense. I think that the two ops that you want to more or less focus on for offense right now are going to be Lion and also Capitao, especially on this map in particular, because Capitao can lock down a lot of sight lines as well as make it where you can't rotate to try and stop a plant. Those asphyxiating bolts, especially after a buff, are nothing to be... excuse me, I almost coughed up a lung right there. But they are definitely nothing to shake your head at. Otherwise, they definitely will burn you alive or suffocate you alive. As it does look like fire, but they are actually suffocating you to death, which is a little bit more scary, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've never understood that argument from the whole, but it's choking you. But, it's choking you with flames. But
it's in the name. It's asphyxiation.
It's literally burning oxygen, as far as I can tell. So it's still burning something. Yeah. And the reason why you can't breathe is because all the oxygen in the air is burning out, and there's probably fire in your lungs.
So
it's both.
So asphyxiating bolts are basically napalm?
No, because napalm's a liquid.
I mean, what if it is a liquid? What's on the tip of the arrow?
I don't think it could float if it was a liquid.
I mean, but the arrow's not on fire.
It's more of a compound, isn't it? It's not really a... I don't really know what it is, right? It's more of like a gas.
Oh, man. Someone's going to hit
someone from Ubisoft. We need to talk to them about the technical specifications.
Hey, Capitao got banned. And Echo got banned. Hey, there you go. Good job, buddy.
See, both of us calling that out. We also actually had both the Denial Ops get banned, so Maestro's out of the pool there too, and then Buck is the final pick, which again makes sense. There's a lot of potential on 2 or 3 different sites for top-down play to happen, most notably Kitchen and Bars. So considering that, we sometimes do see operators like Buck, not really Sledge, but it's a possibility as well, get banned out.
All right, well, first site. Oh, as you said, actually, Buck going to get banned out, which for Coastline, actually kind of makes sense.
It makes sense, it just doesn't really happen that often.
Yeah, it happens a lot more on Border, but I can definitely see why they would want to take it out on Coastline just because of how much soft destruction is on this map as well. The reason they do it on Border is because you can get a lot of presence from underneath with Buck out to half wall and a lot of other areas inside of Border, but you can also do that on Coastline as well. Only difference with Coastline is you can rotate a heck of a lot faster because of that center courtyard, so you can try and deal with him a little bit quicker instead of having to try and dedicate somebody down a staircase, but nonetheless, Pittsburg Embers are going to be removing Buck from play.
All right, well, let's get into it. got Arbad out on the field for the first time. It is not a misnomer. We do have 1 round on the board, but it's not actual play. Quick reminder, if you did just join us, Pittsburg Embers unfortunately had to take a loss on the opening round due to the amount of time it took to connect their full roster to the match. So delay of game, 1 round penalty.
Repeat first down. All right.
Repeat. Sorry, I tried my best to not sound like a football referee. Got the better of me.
I mean, hey. When you're talking about rules, you do sound like a ref. I mean, hey, it's just a thing. But all right, as we are going to be jumping into round number 2, is we are going to cover all the formalities. Thank you, Blue, for that. But it is going to be the double bar setup allocated by the Pittsburg Embers first of all, and we're going to see an operator we haven't seen just yet today, and is currently going through a little bit of a rework by the hands of Ubisoft. But nonetheless, we are going to have Clash on the field for the Pittsburg Embers, and pretty unique character is Clash's. Okay. All right, Beastly. Well, good morning and good night.
Talk about
Forrest.
unexpected.
Yeah. Well, we thought it was going to be Fozo at the other end of that barrel, but actually it's going to be Forrest as the smoke will get taken down.
What a twist.
Plenty of twists today.
Dude, it's like so much build up for that kill, the player close up, and then he's like, oh, like there's a second player right behind the punch holes. Just found that really funny.
This is already just taking such a turn. Like, we have 3 operators just all standing in the hallway upstairs of Arbad, just waiting for anything to possibly happen. But it's Pittsburgh dedicating all of their ops downstairs. Frag grenade going to bounce down the staircase, do a little bit of damage to Clash. She does have explosive denial for herself, but for herself only, as all of the shields work like that in this game. So unless that nade is exactly on top of her, it's not going to do too much damage. But since Capitao has been removed, really don't have a hard counter for her.
Rixer's going to strike first, however, for the Embers. We're going to get a charge detonated against the Clash. It's not going to lead to a kill against her, however. Callie instead picks up the next frag against Fozo. And slowly we see Arbad trading their way into the downstairs bars. Not the cleanest nature to this, though. As you can see, Tuffy's going to get knocked out next to her. Beastly tries to make the push to the inside. Already had Kilo down. Going to get the finishing frag off to justify or to confirm onto that one. This will open up the opportunity to get the plant onto the ground. Callie's going to get killed trying to work his way downstairs. Glitch in the meanwhile, trying to knock out the Clash, failing on the punch there. Either way, they got the plant onto the ground, but there's only 2 of them left compared to the 2 on their defending side.
Glitch is going to have to be very worried about his health as well here. Clash does not do too much damage, but when you're below that 25 HP margin, she can definitely do enough. And actually, Colin's going to run at him with his shield on his back, which isn't going to work out too well for him, as you can see. And Beastly will find that last kill after a very creative opening frag, is able to claim the last life of the Pittsburgh Embers, and that's going to be the first round going into the hands of Arbad.
You can see the final kill once again. Pretty straightforward in the way that it does pan itself out, but it's Arbad to continue pushing forward here now at 2-0. Only 1 round played. Again, just want to clarify that a few times at the beginning of the match, so apologies if that's annoying.
Thanks for saying that. Once again, I need to fix my little bit of formatting here for myself, as that is going to be the second round for Arbad, as you could say.
Well, over to Hookah Billiards now for the second round. Pittsburgh, once again, much like our first match, choosing not to stick around on that bar side after a relatively close round, just not enough to justify a reattempt at it. They'll head upstairs instead. Arbad will have to attempt to attack another side here. It's going to be another 6-pick, moving the gridlock over towards a Nomad. Same thing, though, for Mozzie. Both the Australian operators getting 6-picked away this time, although that one hasn't been confirmed just yet, but it gets locked in on the timer, so it's going to be knocked over towards Ella.
It's definitely going to be a shift of gears for Forrest, especially. He was actually the opening frag for the Pittsburgh Embers on that first round of the hands of Beastly, and here's that Beastly is no longer going to be a support player, or really anybody on this roster is going to be the hard-stuck support players. We are going to see Ash, Twitch, Sledge, Sophia, and Nomad. That was a mouthful, but needed to be said, simply due to the fact that this is going to be an extremely aggressive lineup. Most notably, what I want to talk about is going to be Nomad in the hands of Carnage. Nomad, using those air jabs that she has for her utility, is able to shut down 3 areas of travel for the defense, which makes people like Forrest, who just came off of smoke and is now playing Ella, job a lot harder, to where you have to try and bait out or stand up against the walls we saw priorly Valkyrie doing on the hookah balcony, as we saw in that last matchup. So have to be smarter on how you try and path throughout the map, especially with that Nomad on the field.
Potentially had a double run out there, but it's just going to be the Doc instead. Fozo trying to make progress on a kill early on over by Ruins. It's not going to be able to find one, though. Arbad don't line up with it, and also Pittsburgh doesn't peek it long enough for the attempt to line up. Just going to waste down the ADSs nice and early on in the round. Already knocked out one of them right there. If there's a second one, there should be 1 charge burn from it as well, but looks like it's not the case. A good lineup from Beastly. Only with 25 HP, however, knocked off a Fozo.
Not an angle you see taken up too often, but there is one. Basically going to be taking up literally everyone. Going to have a lot of assists on this round, or quite a few frags as he's able to find the same victim twice in a row. Hasn't come to fruition just yet, but our bad working quite quickly as we've seen this happen in the past. This is exactly how they were playing against Rogue when they ended up knocking them off the hinges. This time around, though, round number 3 again, especially after having that initial round granted to them. Already on a hot streak here, and definitely have everything in their favor.
Glitch again, trying to work his way forward. He's going to have drone support to try and push back into Billiards. Not going to feel too confident to move forward on it, though. They haven't gotten that opening frag yet, and they kind of need that to feel the comfort to push into the site. So if they end up in a trade war, they'll know, at minimum, as long as they keep the trades up, they won't come out with a losing man advantage by the kind of late point in the round. We've got that potential run-out brewing here, so you got to be careful of that.
Yes, he does. Is he actually going to lose the gunfight? Does he down him? He is going to be able to down the Twitch, and he's going to be able to get away with his life. There was no Nomad on that door, air jab on that door. Nomad's utility not being used to be able to save any lives just yet, but it seems that it is going to be a full-on aquarium push into Billiards here, as Carnage will be holding things down inside of Luggage, just watching for that flank. All of his air jabs have already been used as well, as you can see. 0 counter on that air jab launcher.
A little over a minute left here. Foza just picked up the first kill. Our bad kind of falling apart at the seams here when it comes to their attack so far. Not really able to work their way in. Punch hole nearly leading to the death of Tuffy. At minimum, pushing him into a corner now. Smoke holding him back. A nice response from Beastly to catch Fozo sitting in the back of Hookah, but it's a small gesture now, considering it's only brought it down to a 3v4. They've got 45 seconds left to make a play here. Not really a whole lot of angles to work with on the attack either. They're kind of just sitting back and fishing for anything they might be able to get. A hard ping may get them a kill on a nade. However, the nade is chucked a little bit too early. Doesn't find the explosion radius it needs. Beastly from the same angle nearly gets another kill, but Tuffy instead gets the double. A secondary attempt at the nade frag knocks out Call Out. He finds Forrest. He is going to lose Beastly back downstairs, but he picks up another kill. Grixer starts to turn this back around, however, for the Embers. Puts it into a 2v1 with his frags, and Tuffy picks the wrong angle. He goes down to Kilo, and the Embers claim their first round on the 3rd, setting us up at 2-1.
Pretty interesting defense there for the Embers. It seemed like it was going to be all for naught at the end, especially after Tuffy got that second nade onto the smoke. We don't see that angle adopted too often downstairs. Granted, it is a pretty default spot, but we've seen a lot of people deal with this default area inside of couches off of Billiards in different ways. Especially at the minors, we saw quite a few different ways. Especially, we saw Buck go underneath and trying to handle that angle. We saw Habana launch X-Kairos onto the sidewall and make some angles. There's a bunch of different ways. It's kind of like a Rubik's Cube. There's a bunch of different ways to solve it, but eventually you're going to come to the single solution, and that's kill smoke. So that's exactly what they're going to be able to do with that frag grenade underneath from Tuffy. He tried his best, but it seemed to be too little too late, as Carnage is going to do what we call a pro gamer move. And 6-pick from Nomad to, you guessed it, Nomad.
Nice meet.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
So moving things right forward. Our bad still with a good lead, but technically only a 1-for-1 trade off of that. We're still working off of the free round they won at the beginning of this map. Reinforcement's going to align pretty standard with what we come to expect. Mind you, Mira is not banned right now, so there is the possibility to cycle Hurlin for sites like Kitchen and whatnot. We're not seeing that too much just yet here from the Pittsburg Embers.
I like the difference in utility that the Embers are not afraid to bring. They're bringing the Mozzie, which, again, these Australian operators, a lot of the community did not think they were going to get a lot of play, and it always kind of baffled me, because think about this. You have a certain amount of dedicated utility to information on the offense. It's not very much standardly, because you only really have your drones unless you're going to bring like Dokkaebi or Lion, Jackal, all these other operators to try and grant you more utility or grant you more information utility. But as you can see from the offense, we don't have that. So all you have is 10 drones. And you're telling me there's an operator that can take 3 of those drones away? That's insanity. Even adding to more of the information basis of the defense, as well as bringing a Nitro Cell and a pretty damn good weapon on the side.
Both weapons actually seeing a lot of play right now.
The Peroni's really, really good. I prefer the Commando that he has. It's the one that looks kind of like an M4, but it's an SMG variant instead. But besides that, they're also going to be bringing Alibi as well, which Alibi's been in the game for quite a while, but just a refresher course for some of the viewers that are a little bit newer here. She's got some really, really weird uses. A double-placed Nitro Cell, actually, a bait, possibly. Actually almost destroys the other Nitro Cell with said Nitro Cell. It was almost a Nitro Cell kind of fission there on the floor. But despite that, Alibi can make clones of herself. She can make 3 of them. They're holograms. If you shoot them, they actually give away your location. It pings you 5 times within 3 seconds. or 2 seconds, excuse me.
Seeing Tuffy, he's trying to bait out some shots from down below. He knows he's been spotted. He knows they probably have vision on him, so he's trying to play carefully into that. The C4 just kind of goes off at a random point. Shouldn't have been any sound intel to throw that off or anything. There was no one else near the room. So not really sure what happened there.
He's trying to phone a friend, click the wrong button.
Got Tuffy, he's going to be granted access to the hallway. Glitch is going to strike first from Arbad. Carnage as well with the secondary cutoff on the other side of the hallway. Takes down Forrest. This is very quickly devolving here for the Embers.
What a shot.
So wind it up for everything. It doesn't get anything from it. Tuffy going to quickly take him out. Call out. Nearly finding a first kill here for the Embers, but absolutely nothing. Arbad finally pulls the trigger and is rewarded with a flawless round here, as they absolutely destroy the defensive setup there for the Embers.
Yeah, it was pretty much decimation there as you saw the flawless round, as you said. So, Arbad making quick work of that, and that's all going to be dedicated to those early drones that we were talking about. So Mozzie wasn't not able to take away any information from Arbad, and those pre-placed drones really worked out well for them. And actually, we're going to see yet another operator coming out from the Aussies. It's going to be Gridlock. So we haven't seen too much play of her yet today. She might get 6 pick though, and I think that's actually what's about to happen. He's going to go back to the Nomad. Yes, he is. Okay. So actually, funny enough, we saw last week that Gridlock and Nomad are actually the most dynamic duo at shutting down a roam game we've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
It's
just think about
actually insane. So it's one of those things where, you know, you have all these different. We have 48 operators in the game. You know, we have 24 on offense, 24 on defense. Yeah, that's math. Anyways, so. You get these new operators like, oh, okay, like I see her utility. She can flood a room with her tracks, and you know that's pretty cool. But then you really don't put 2 and 2 together until you see it in a competitive environment. You go, oh, that's nice. Okay, so we saw it last week on Consulate. We might end up seeing it again today, but not just yet. Nomad again, those air jabs, very good at shutting down the roam game. But here's that Pittsburg is wanting to go with the double bar setup and opening up into the courtyard once again. So. With that being said, as we saw those castle barricades going down, not too bad of a play for them, as it makes it to where you're able to rotate a little bit easier from upstairs, so no one can try and hold down your rotate from the Lamborghini doorway or that lobby area.
Into the round we will go. Once again, get to see if Arbad gets to pull ahead. Because of the 1 round that was given to them for free, by the way, it looks like we're still proceeding normally in terms of the round share, so still going to only have 5 rounds of play on this side as well. Teams are still going to switch on the quote-unquote 6th round instead of the actual 6th round of play. So just wanted to clear that out of the way, too, in case anybody was curious about that. We once again got Arbad into the building, already pushing their way through Billiards partway, and starting to slowly get into position to attack this site. Need to do a few more things, like check the clearance on Hookah, make sure they were able to work their way in here, and when they get the cool vibes, figure out, oh, great, we got to deal with Clash again. And then that's probably going to slow things down quite a bit.
It's very interesting to see how Embers holds down this site, because it's not very traditional as to what we usually see. Traditionally speaking, it's either going to be a full-on horizontal hold while trying to hold down the staircases, and having a little bit of pressure up top, or just being able to hold down the penthouse areas. We actually are going to start ramping things up as trades are going to start to ensue from both sides, but it's going to be Arbad fighting out on the top of the pile. You hear that Nitro Cell, as Tuffy's going to take literally 1 piece of damage from that. Clash still going to be holding down Cool Vibes as well. But the reason that this is interesting is they alleviate all of this pressure up top, and as you can see, Arbad just going to walk in house, able to establish their angles, finds 2 lives off of it as well. So Pittsburg not having too much map pressure is actually going to turn around to bite them. And Clash doesn't seem to be doing too much on Cool Vibes. She's more or less just a holder for anyone with a gun at that point.
Round timer going to continue to tick down here. Arbad stalling a little bit despite having the man advantage. Trying to look, I think, for that 1 more confirmation to really put them ahead before they commit to anything. Well, they've got a chance for it now. They've seen the Clash downstairs, and Nay getting chucked her way. It's going to be off the mark, though. No confirmation on that, and she's allowed to fall back down to the bottom of Cool Vibes. Another spot, but Grixer gets the better of it. M590 through the metal bars, finds Tuffy. Evens this out now into a 3v3. Someone else from Arbad's going to have to try and trade that back. Still have quite a few players hiding out behind bar. And there you go, Glitch. Nice lineup. Finds Grixer, gets the trade. Forrest, though, immediately sends it back. Call out. Brings it down to only 1 on Arbad. It's Beastly up against the world in a 1v2 now. 25 seconds left for him to try and clutch this out. And unfortunately for him, the Clash is going to be the first player he'll run into. Have to throw out the breaching round to get rid of the Clash. Not going to work out. Still got the second one, actually. Still both this late into the round. 1 more attempt at it. Again, she's going to be able to back up, get out of the way. not really an angle or a timing that he needs to play off of this, although he does have the good aim. Recognize his situation, just not being given anything here, man. So the timer is, wow, that was...
We won't talk about it. We won't talk about it.
Let's just forget the last 10 seconds of that happened, but it does go to the Embers at the end of the day.
Forrest, I really hate to tell you this, buddy, but you didn't land those shots. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you didn't. Right before he shot, every time he flicked to the right.
Flicked.
And I was like, no, just shoot the gun. Shoot it. Oh, man. Well, a little bit of a blunder there at the end, but nonetheless, Clash is actually going to be able to win out the round there for Pittsburgh. So as we go into the last round of the offensive set for our bad, will they split or will they be able to take their round advantage and run with it? We'll have to find out, as they had the top pressure that they really needed, and you guys could see how much work that top pressure allowed our bad to continue to ensue onto the Embers. I mean, even eventually finding all the way down to knocking them all the way down to 2 remaining members of the Embers, but they had to fight back out of that, and that's exactly what they did. Clash actually worked out pretty well there, being able to maintain her life on Cool Vibes, and even the Smoke being able to battle back as well. Eventually, we did see that little bit of a blunder of the shotgun, but again, nonetheless, they will be able to walk away with that round. If anything, our bad just needs to continue to apply that pressure instead of just, you know, okay, yeah, we have the angles, but we're just going to sit here and hold them until they try and do something, which is exactly what happened. Pittsburgh fought back from below. If you guys didn't know, those angles work both ways, and if you needed any confirmation of that, it's an M590 to the chest of Duffy.
Kilo gonna try to get the long-range toss up there. Doesn't end up getting detected, so someone's gonna notice something's up.
Can it reach? Oh, it can.
Ooh, I think that's just at range, too. So pop into that camera. A little bit too late on the toss out there.
More dumb numbers that I know just because it's 10 meters on the shot of the Twitch drone. I don't know why I know that, but I do.
Now equate that. Tell me what's 10 meters away from IQ's current position.
I'm sorry, I work USN. I only know freedom units.
Go.
I apologize.
Yeah, you're right. It's like 8 feet, yeah?
Something like that.
Yeah. All right, so Carnage gonna work his way up. Start to the push in Aquarium. It's already got the door open, and again, we haven't really seen a whole lot of resistance here from the Embers. So they should be able to just walk right in, at least when it comes to Aquarium. Might expect getting beyond that, though, is going to be the tough part.
It's so weird how they just give up so much map control. They play so turtle to the point that they don't really even battle back until our bad already has their angles established, which, again, is going to end up punishing them.
Might just be Pittsburgh game to try and play passively here. I mean, it's not working out terribly. Like, in actuality, this is tied 2-2 right now, so.
Yeah, if only you could connect faster. Come on, IP. Come on. But, nonetheless, could be our bad. Coming up on top of things anyways, is going to be a hookah defense here for our last round, as you guys can see. So, gonna have to try and find a way to get Callie dug out of that couch spot that Smoke is most notably known for playing on this site. Oh, they got the Mozzie detector. Do you want the Twitch drone to be stolen?
Oh my.
Where's it at? I think it's in the couch. I think you put it like in the crevice of the couch.
Does that even work? I guess so. I guess it doesn't work on collision. It just doesn't. If you're in the zone, it jumps on you. So.
Well, you have to be within line of sight as well. It can't be like through the wall.
Okay, so it does work.
It doesn't like teleport. It's not a teleporting spider. Don't even put that on me.
I mean,
okay? That's terrifying.
That's a horror I don't need to realize. We're gonna see Glitch popping off both the stun charges to the inside of the site. Those are one of the explosive charges as well. Carnage able to leverage our first kill here for Arbad. It's just in time as well. 45 seconds left. We need to start seeing them commit to this, and they need that opening kill to kind of rush them forward. Spam's in the right place. I don't know if we've got that player sitting behind a wall. And it looks like he wasn't. He still ended up taking about 25 damage from that. Hasn't stood himself back up yet. Oh, we can see that elbow. He's going to try to go for Spam through the wall, and again, that's some great damage to the Valkyrie. Just not enough for the down, and they need that. They still really haven't pushed in. Down to 25 seconds. Now they're going to go for the commitment into Billiards, and it doesn't seem like they've noticed it, actually. We don't see the smoke grenades going down, and if we did, it would be too late. So we are going to see that one close out. Carnage picking up one more kill, brings down only 2 for the Embers at this point. Now 1, as Valkyrie's also going to get picked out by Carnage. Down to just Grixer downstairs here. He's going to down 1. He's hoping for a repeat. Oh, there you go. He's going to get it, though. Now this is a tough situation.
Yes, indeed. Grixer is going to have to try and rush Cool Vibes, but Callie is going to be meeting him with that F2, and I highly doubt he makes it out of an F2 gunfight, especially with that rate of fire on that weapon. Truly insane gun, but nonetheless, there are still multiple bodies up for our bad, and Ember's trying to battle back from that. Just not going to happen. But that will be a round split, as our bad's going to end up 4-2 on the split, and as they will now be entering their defensive half. So, with that being said, last time around that we watched our bad on this map, it was going to be the Carnage show on defense with Jaeger, where he was basically able to just have free reign over the entire map, and he brought forth quite a few frags, especially opening frags on the defensive side of things. So Forrest is going to actually 6-pick off of the Jackal to the Habana. I assume that they were going to try and bring that Jackal, maybe 6-pick off of something else for a hard destruction if they wanted it, but this time it is going to be the Habana. I assume that they're more than likely going to be using Habana on the couch wall to try and get rid of smoke, which we've seen done before.
If they are able to accomplish that, they make things a lot easier. There's the round share once again, folks. See our bad just barely cutting ahead there. And once again, just to clarify, that first round not actually played out. The timer in this instance on that little symbol is in a literal sense, as Pittsburgh failed to connect to the match in time and deducted 1 round as a penalty.
Well, split coming in now, as you guys can see. So Beastly actually putting in quite a bit of work on the offensive set, but the only thing is that he got 3 kills in the first round. So past that, as we know, well, the second round, excuse me, because as you said, because of our bad getting allocated the first round due to the delay, but he got 3 kills in the second round. So there was 4 rounds that he only had 1 kill. So again, you kind of have to look at it and go, okay, overall, were you getting like 2 kills per round, 1 kill per round, or was it more or less just you had 1 round where you really popped off, and then the rest of them you were more or less quiet? And that seems to be the case so far. But he is more or less back on the roll. We've seen him play a lot, especially on his old team, and he's going to be in the smoke position now for our bad.
Interesting site selection there from Grixer to not going with the ACOG on Zofia, and instead just going with the dot site. Or actually, that's which one is that one?
Is it the triangle side or is it the holographic?
The green triangle.
It's going to be the reflex side.
It's a reflex, yeah. So still, interesting. Listen, what time is it? You don't get to mock me.
It's 4:25 in the morning.
Everyone uses a hollow. I just call them all hollow sites. So
I mean, yeah.
Like the last 3 people we've clicked to have had hollow sites.
Look, blame Pangu. He was one of the hollow site's the best. It's the absolute best. Which, I mean, he's not wrong for a lot of people. It's all personal preference, man. I don't even care to use a red dot. If you get frags, that's all that matters at the end of the day. I mean, Skies hates ACOGs. Absolutely hates ACOGs. Barely uses them. So
they're slow. Who needs them?
I mean, you say that, but we've seen a lot of damage come from ACOGs.
Listen,
a lot of damage.
It's slow, but it's effective, you know? Never said it wasn't good, I said it was slow. Either way, they're going to pop open the bar wall. Hopefully should knock Smoke out of his position, or at least give them the opportunity to do so. Carnage is going to try to make some plays downstairs. I mean, we just saw him break down that wall, so we might try to run through kitchen and get a position against these guys. More droning presence going to work its way in against our bad in the meanwhile here. We're not seeing a whole lot of action come in from Carnage specifically, just kind of hanging out of bars downstairs. But at the same time, the Pittsburg Embers haven't really started their attack too much either. 0 damage on anyone from the Arbad roster. To be fair, same issue for the Pittsburg Embers. But map control for Arbad is looking very lax right now here. And what's... Got these guys moving in for an execute here now. Trying to push their way into A. A lot of presence used, including the line. Kilo, Grixer, all getting kills to start this one out. The plant is going to be going down as well. Fozo with another pickup, and wow, 4 straight. What happened, Arbad? They just fall down completely, and the Embers show up out of nowhere with a beautiful assault on the site.
I hate to say these words, I really hate them, but it's a very beautiful use of Lion right there to be able to lock down literally everyone in sight after they got all the information and execute them accordingly. And by execute them, I, in the literal sense, mean execute them, because that's exactly what just happened. So, again, Fozo's more than likely going to ride this ship the entire time through this offensive set, and it might end up bringing them back in this game, because Pittsburgh on their defensive set, they played all of their defenses completely utility-based. They were not trying to get overly aggressive, not trying to get too frag heavy. They weren't trying to lean on lead. They were trying to lean on utility, and they're going to continue to do that with their offensive set as well.
All right, guys, well, here we go into the next round now. Second attack for the Pittsburg Embers, and we are going to see a repeated sight, which actually we haven't gotten a whole lot of that here tonight, but it's going to make a little bit more sense with Arbad being on hookah billiards instead of the double bars, where teams have been taking a little bit more of a risk on their opening defensive rounds and then kind of shifting away from it. So unfortunately, it just hasn't really gone too great for any defenders that have played it tonight. They've had a lot of mixed records at a minimum and just straight losses at its worst. So as far as Arbad is concerned, they're going to be keeping things at a standard here and just stick the hookah billiards play until they can either win it or probably after this round they'll consider switching again.
We'll have to see if they have an answer at all for Fozo on this line. It seems like it might be toughy on the mute, try and put those mute jammers in positions where you can possibly move, as well as some ADSs to stop those stuns, because that's exactly what wrecked Beastly the last time. That man was, I mean, it was basically like I was standing in front of him. That's how wide it was. It was insane.
Unfortunately, in a situation like that, not much that those defenders were going to be able to do. So they get wiped off the map pretty quickly. It was all happening so fast, too, so I imagine comms from Arbad was at a pretty much bar minimum there with how quickly everything broke down from essentially, you know, going from nothing happening to that in just a couple seconds. Glitch, in the meanwhile, takes a peek against the Lion from the Pittsburg Embers. That's Fozo nearly losing his life, but the same can be said for Glitch. Only ends up with 50 HP. Should have picked Doc in this instance. He's not going to be able to bring that HP back up to 100.
All right, well, let's get things going here in round number 8. Information base is going to come out for Ember once again, as we already talked about. Seems to be that they are leaning more on utility, and yes, it is going to be the reflex site. So you did get it correct. I was very scared that we were going to flip back and it was going to be a hollow site instead, and it would just absolutely ruin your day. So
like hollow's obvious because it says it. Red dot is obvious because it's its name. This one, you know,
just got good reflexes, man.
All different.
And plus 25% to your reflexes.
There's no easy recall for the name of the site, so.
A triangle doesn't immediately mean reflex to you? Come on.
Oh, green. It's the green triangle site.
What is this?
That's what it'll always be for me.
Peasantry.
Our wall gonna get popped open once again by the attackers to hopefully give them a little bit more room. There's the Lion ping.
Okay.
Looking like it might have got them 1 or 2 players on ping there. I don't know if that's coming from a drone or not. Oh, either way, Fozo is gonna be able to snipe out Glitch to start things out. Cali though finds the response, and there's the nice shot from him. Drops the diffuser by taking out Kilo and call out Fozo though, still trading, still keeping the Embers in this round right now. They're not out of it just yet, but they are gonna have to roll back, pull the attack away. Pick up that diffuser once again if they want to resume this, as they're still going to have to push in from Aquarium. Actually, maybe not. The thing is they're going to have to commit so much pressure back to Aquarium to get the diffuser back, they might as well. But in theory, it's far enough back where they can kind of just grab it and run. But I don't think they're going to feel confident enough to do that, considering how much Cali wrecked the guys on Rappel 20 seconds ago.
Correct. I think that it's going to be Fozo acting as the Kindle for these Embers. This Cali's going to have another gunfight, yet another headshot. That's going to get him the triple kill. Fozo trying to get aggressive on the cool vibes. Actually going to end up losing out the gunfight too. Tuffy with that SMG-11. Beastly, though, to clean it up. As it's going to be all left up to Grixer alone as he gets taken down. Arbad finds the counter to the Lion play here on Hookah Billiards.
Cali with a nice bait against the Lion there on the second charge as well. Knew his opponent was probably going to try to push him off of it, so just gives him exactly what he wants. Gives him the intel, stays mobile since that ping isn't as actively updating as it was before, and off of that, gets the kill. Really solidifies the round for his team. Great heads-up play.
It's a cruel plot to gain your confidence.
So everybody's like, yeah, Lion. Can't counter him, man. We got to sit still. Nah.
Just shoot him.
I'm just gonna peek him.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's a great counter for Lion. Just kill the man. Like, just do it. I feel like with the way that Embers is playing Lion, it's kind of like how it used to be in comp when Thermite was the only hard breach. If you kill him, the round's just essentially over. So if you're able to find that success on an opening frag, then you're in a pretty good spot.
Well, that's going to be the question going forward, because this was a large part of Parallax's success the other night too, was how well Lion was working out for them. So are they going to be able to, move beyond that? Are they going to be able to find success without Lion in any of these rounds?
So here's a real question. This is just a little bit of brainstorming, since we've obviously been able to break down quite a few of these defenses already. Were you a caster when Lion was originally in? Casting the game? No,
because I came in late last year.
Is he under quarantine already?
He wasn't under quarantine, but he was essentially permabanned. I think I literally casted like 1 match with the old Lion where he wasn't banned.
But you understand what he was prior.
Yeah, of course.
So comparable, what would you say Lion is comparable to what he is now to what he was then? In your personal opinion.
Well, before he was kind of just instant death if you were near any soft destruction, and there was someone on the other side of it. Now it's not like confirmed anymore. Like it's still, I don't like. It's hard to peg like where exactly he's been nerfed because like in like that specific situation that we saw in the last round, he's not as effective as he was before, obviously. But beyond that, it still finds the intel just as easily. He just doesn't, and you know, it happens quicker now, right? Is the problem. You used to have the 3 seconds to recover. Now you only got a second and a half, I think, is what the timer's set to. So it's actually worse in that aspect. In terms of actually getting intel, I think he's better than he was before. It's just the intel that he gets isn't as effective as it was previously, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, more charges, faster. I mean, it's a leaner, meaner Lion, but he has a counter now.
Yeah.
A hard set counter. He has a few. He has mute, but I would say the one that stands out the most to me is going to be that Vigil. And the kill that stands out the most to me is Force removing Callie's head from on top of the coastline map. Oh, Nitro Cell going to come through. Not going to meet anyone, though, as you can see those 2 lives still. Another Nitro Cell going to be dedicated. He's actually going to get shot off of the iron bar at the hands of Kilo. Some stun grenades going to rain down, but not going to capitalize on any of that utility usage.
So, got Pittsburg working their way in here. Fozo finds a triple already on the round, in fact.
Again, he's oh my goodness.
He's dead.
Yeah, I mean, this man is literally just what the Embers need to get started every single time. Every single time. 4K. Fozo, he's literally just ruining Arbad's day. Like, it's just not good. It's not Arbad. I mean, they should switch names. That's just what it'd be. Like, Lion play, it's Arbad, whatever. Anyways, puns aside, Fozo is doing very, very good with this Lion play right now. Again, hate to say it, but it's a thing.
So much like our first match, this one also going very even. Again, in terms of actual rounds played out, this is dead even right now at 4-4. The only reason Arbad is ahead is because they have that one free round from the beginning of the match. So both these teams going neck and neck, constantly finding responses to each other. Embers, up until that last round there, using Lion's utility quite a bit in order to find their success, but didn't really rely on it. Didn't use it as much of a crutch as I thought it was going to be for their entire attacking side in the last round. Did a pretty good job of just on Lion himself and finding those frags through normal means.
Yeah, upside down repel on the delivery door always works out pretty well for you, especially. No one really expects you to be upside down on that door, and there's plenty of instances inside of Siege where you can think of windows and such where you're like, there's no way this guy's going to be upside down, and ends up picking up 3K off of it, and then eventually a 4K. So, as you guys can see, though, Fozo's actually, wow, he's really only been putting in quite a few frags on the offensive side of things. Very interesting to see there. So it appears that Lion is also the catalyst for Fozo to just absolutely decimate the opposition. So,
if I'm remembering correctly, he was getting knocked out pretty early in a lot of the defensive rounds, so didn't necessarily...
Yeah, I think he was opening frag twice.
Yeah, like he was the highlight, or rather he was the focus of their attack a lot of the time on Arbad's side of things, so somewhat excusable that his frags aren't necessarily up there all the way, because he necessarily didn't have as many chances as a lot of his teammates due to how quickly he was being hunted down on a round-by-round basis.
I'm very interested to see, or if we have a conversation with him, I want to ask the question of why Arbad has not shifted over to a Vigil in order to try and just get some roam presence, because his ERC-7 backpack does counter Fozo's utility in those E1Ds. So it could make it a little bit easier, because obviously you can't move when those are activated, but Vigil can. So it's always kind of scary when you just see one man out of everyone not getting marked and running at you. Could throw him off, or at least throw him for a loop.
The problem is, though, if you're going to start relying on Vigils, you're taking kind of a half gamble that Vigil actually makes it that far into the round, since the Lion Chargers are almost exclusively being used for execute right now. They're not really being used for roam clear.
But wouldn't you rather have the utility than not have it?
I suppose so, yeah, but it's more of like, it's going to be somewhat of a situational thing, and I don't know if they want to play into that aspect of the game right now.
I understand where you're coming from, but if, for instances like this where Carnage cannot move, he has to take the prone angle, has to try and battle back. He's dedicated all of his ADSs up here, but it's going to be a pre-fire from Grixer to be able to take down Carnage. Those are the moments that I'm trying to talk about where he could possibly
right there
with those ERC with that ERC backpacks, because the way that Embers is playing is they're not trying to rush in and just get these without using utility. They're using information basis every single time to immediately lock them down. They know where he is. They know that he's more than likely going to go prone. You pre-fire the man's toes and he dies. So that's a little bit of a counter they could possibly employ to try and gain some ground here. Because even Callie on the flank right now, he's going to be able to find at least one. But now that they know that the man is on the hunt, yet another line's going to come out. The man's not going to be able to move. He's going to be locked down inside of VIP Hall, eventually vacating the area and finding safe haven inside of Billiards.
So I think now that I've seen all the lines in this round, I think I'm in more agreement with you now. It's just that based off of what we've seen before, I was not seeing where it would get used too much, but that's changed a little bit with this round. Fozo, in the meanwhile, as we continue to talk about the Lion, he's going to be able to find his pick over by the kitchen window. Still keeping the Embers in control of this round ultimately, as now Tuffy.
This is terrifying.
They're going to be locked down. He's got a ping onto a player over there by service. He doesn't know if there's more coming. Doesn't know if the window hopping's going to happen. Scan kept him in place. Wasn't ready for Forest position. Already on the inside of bathroom, though. Callie's going to have to whip himself back into this site as quickly as he can to try and stop the plant. But no, the Embers are too well established, so they're going to pick up yet another round, now tying it against Arbad at 5-5.
A properly played Lion is the most terrifying thing on the planet, let me tell you. Just, if you play Lion, if you play around Lion like this, like what Embers is doing, he is one of the scariest operators in the game. He's absolutely terrifying. So, and I mean, it's literally on the screen. Like, just see what's happening. Oh. It's going to be a 6-pick. Don't worry about it. You already know it's going to be a 6-pick. Besides that fact, the issue that's going to ensue is actually going to be call out on Lion. Nope.
Man, you're really...
So, okay. So the thing that has worked for you literally 3 times. Okay. I'm not on the team. Whatever. Anywho.
It owns Stokes.
Yeah, anywho, despite the fact, what I'm trying to say is if you play around Lion in a utility use basis to where all you have to do is take a drone, have people around that area that can immediately attack on that utility, especially after the Lion usage, with how it's almost instantaneous now, they can't move from that position.
Of course.
I mean, you even saw it with Alibi. They knew Alibi was locked down in kitchen and he was going to have to try and check face through the kitchen door, and he gets immediately eradicated. So it's just it's a rough thing to try and battle back on the defense with, but they're not going to have to try and battle back against Nat. Now they're going to have to try and battle back against somebody that can't take a headshot for 3 of the bullets that possibly come out of your weapon. But again, you're more than likely going to see Fozo on a lot more angle holding on this round. Actually, since we are on Hookah, what you're more than likely going to see is him playing Aquarium Balcony, making his job a little bit easier.
So let's get into it. We've got the Embers out onto the board once again. Run it back, of course. Now are technically ahead in terms of rounds 1 that were actually played. Need to pick up 2 more. Able to close out this matchup and send themselves over to the game versus TSM coming up right after this. Arbad also looking to recover. They've already made it. The conference finals, a step that even TSM hasn't been able to accomplish just yet. They've got a little bit further to go here. Kilo's going to sweep the floor with his drone real quick just to reveal. It's actually very smart to try and hide the black eye camera on the inside of that debris, but it's not going to work out. They'll spot it, and then they'll shoot it the second they run into the room.
Well, slow wind up here for Pittsburgh, as we've seen prior. Don't have that line to work with anymore. So they have picked off of him for the Blackbeard. Fozo's currently handling, but again, as we've seen, lots of angle holding. It appears that Pittsburgh is still more or less in the old guard ways of how teams used to work. And you have your flex, you have your entry, and then you have your supports. Traditionally now, as we talked about earlier, it's more like, hey, we have one support guy, and then the rest of them just really pick whatever they want to. Or in the case of Rec, it's, hey, just pick whatever and we'll make it work. But in the hands of the Embers, it does seem like we have hard-stuck roles set out for all of these pilots that we're currently casting over in this matchup. VIP seems to be the take for Embers is, again, still pretty slow goings here for the team.
All 3 flashes out now from Forest, trying to open up a window for the Aquarium players to push back in. It has not worked out. Glitch able to shut down the first one. Kilo out of the run, and Grixer looking for trades here at the 90 hallway. At the same time, Forest trying to push. Good chance he gets traded around the corner. Remember, Grixer's there to support. They've got a good 2-man system set up here if Arbad try to get aggressive at all, which now they are. Fozo is able to take out Carnage. Oh, they didn't catch the player in the corner though. Forest is going to be able to walk right through, picks up another one. Run back as well here, so they've got another player down in the corner, and ultimately Fozo with the final pickup will close out on the round for the Embers as they now push ahead past Arbad. Just 1 round away. They've only got 1 chance to do it in regulation here to close out.
I feel like one of them's got the stream up and they heard how much I was talking about them using line. They're like, oh, we'll show them we can do it without line.
Which they did.
That's fine. So. They did. Hey, and they had a really, really damn good round off of it. I'm not even going to lie about that. So it seems to be that Pittsburgh goes more or less with a constriction kind of offense. They try and get everybody pushed back into sight, try and put everybody inside this tiny box, which we talked about earlier. You want to try and battle out of that, want to try and get a little bit of aggression, at least get a pick, make things a little bit easier for you to rotate around, because once you get inside of that small box and there's no way out, it's just you have to win one gunfight and get immediately traded and just hope that your team can win the trade game. And in that instance, our bad definitely did not win the trade game.
And so now it's time to see if they can win the trade game and potentially this final round for them. Or maybe not, if they can carry it forward, pick this round up, take us into overtime. But meanwhile, though, you've got Fozo and Grixer. Grixer quietly as well, absolutely destroying things on the scoreboard right now. Callie's up there also at 11-7, but it's been Fozo and Grixer that have been bringing out a lot of the play here for the Embers to push them ahead.
Well, this is going to be the 5th time that they have played hookah billiards. So we'll see if they can find success this time around. They found success once. That was on the 2nd round of their defensive set, but they haven't found a single round since. So they need to find this, otherwise it's going to be the Pittsburg Embers going up against our TSM squad with the likes of Bolo and Merc on it, as we saw from earlier. But before that, we will obviously have a little bit of an interview with Ever, our winner will be. Despite that fact, though, no more Lion. Going to be still on the Blackbeard here, as they feel like that is being a little bit more successful for some odd reason, as we did see just true annihilation with the Lion prior. But, I mean, we even saw that with the Blackbeard, so it appears that our bad just definitely not having the best of luck on their defensive set.
Not at all. And it may be the end of them here. They came very close. They've already made it, and if I remember, serves me correctly, it was like on this map they beat Rogue, too.
Yes, they did.
So you would think they'd show up again with just as much power this time to knock out the Embers, but not so much on the defensive side of things. Pittsburgh bringing a lot of heat to the table, at least on this half.
I've definitely not seen a team in a while that is this slow to wind up and then things just burst out and everyone dies. I haven't seen that in quite a bit. For quite a while, it was called the Vitality Effect, just because it was, okay, we're going to attack in the last 10 seconds and just hope it works. But even they have more or less went away from that. They still have a pretty slow attack where they'll drone things over 3 or 4 times, but they've gotten a lot faster at it. Whereas the Embers more or less get their information basis and just slowly push back every single operator and force them into a turtle setup, and then just try and eviscerate the entire setup. But as of right now, it appears that our bad is falling for it yet again. We'll see if this time they can possibly fight out of it, but it is going to be the exact same attack from Ember. It's just mirrored over into this match point round.
Still working on droning at this point here, too, so Ember's trying to get some last-second intel. They go in, they are able to find Rook sitting behind the bar instead of Hookah. A few more players going to get found out as well. Looks like they're able to isolate out the smoke with a mute position sitting in the corner right over by the inside of Billiards. A lot of player positions known. We just need to see the follow-through happen here for Pittsburgh. Where are they going to push themselves into the site? They don't have a whole lot of time left to mess with this here, and they're going to start things out with a push against Glitch. Won't work, though. He's going to pick up the first kill, gets a second, too. He has lost 2 of his teammates, though, so it's evenly traded, but ultimately the Pittsburgh Embers are falling apart at the seams here. Enough, though, to keep it into a 2v2 as Glitch finds a 3rd pickup now. If it serves me correctly, Grixer looking to finish off the player in Hookah, but he's going to be able to survive for a little bit longer here. Foot shots constantly hitting these guys, and Grixer coming out with the pistol shots to find 2 kills at the end of it. Gives the map over to the Pittsburgh Embers. We're going to see them move forward to face off against TSM, and for our bad, it's this time going to be their bad, as they'll be knocked out of the run this week. They'll have to try again next week to qualify.
Well, as we've seen in a lot of fighting games, slow moves usually mean a lot of power, and that's exactly what Ember is going to prove yet again, but this time inside of an FPS, as we are going to have Grixer with 15 kills, and again, that's short 1 round as well. So they were short of that initial round, still able to come out on top of it. But Pittsburgh Embers overall looking very, very good on their offensive sets. They only let 1 round slip through their fingers on that half.
Gonna have to be careful on the defense, though. Definitely some like hit or miss style plays from them there, but we don't want to harp on it too much. Was still enough ultimately to nearly even out the playing field, as they just fell slightly short. 1 or 2 of those rounds and could have ended up 3-3 at halftime instead of the 4-2, and ultimately or Bad still had that +1 advantage. That even that wasn't enough for them to close out the map on. So big congrats indeed to the Embers, who are going to see push forward into our final match of the night.
Yeah, very interesting matchup, and I think it definitely goes to show you how good a team can be in their own right. Because again, a lot of these teams we've seen adopt to the newer form of playstyle inside of Rainbow Six, which is flexibility. That's the underlying tone. Right now, especially with the likes of the Pittsburg Embers, that's not really what we're seeing. We're seeing everybody have their own set thing that they do. You don't see like Smoke going to Jaeger going to whatever have you, Castle, bunch of different operators, obviously. But the main thing with that is that it still works, guys. It still works. A lot of people are more or less going to that, you know, we want the gunfights, we want the face checks, that's what we want, whereas these guys are leaning more on utility, and it's kind of refreshing to see at the same time, but at the same time, God, Lion is so dangerous, it's ridiculous. If I was on a team right now, man, I am banning the hell out of that op.
Yep, we've once again seen the power of Lion in this matchup, and you're probably going to get to see it in our final matchup, too. There's no reason why they wouldn't use it against TSM, so they're going to be stepping up a level in terms of who they're facing out against. I mean, after that matchup. I think it would be weird if TSM
didn't like, that's him. Gone, buddy. That is gone. Like,
hopefully we can see that insta-locked in by TSM. Otherwise, mistakes might be made. But we'll see when we get to that matchup. Of course, this is still a few minutes away. We still have to pick our MVPs, and we still have the interview, which is ready right now. So let's send it over to Stokes, who's going to be waiting with one of our winners on comms.
Ooh, interview coming up right now, and it's going to be me talking to Fozo. Fozo, how you been, man?
What's up, man? How are you?
Doing all right. I'm doing all right. Well, it appears that your team has figured out that Lion is a really good operator.
Yeah. He's been my favorite since he came out.
Don't say that.
Him, so. Hey. If you're good on him, why change things, right?
I mean, I can't. I got to agree with you with that. So, only got a couple of questions for you, and then we'll get you on your merry way to face off against TSM. So, Coastline, exact reason why you guys left that in the map pool?
Well, as you can see, we're a very strong attacking team, so it's very easy for us to attack a map like that. When we banned Buck on them, we knew that Tuffy really excels on Buck playing from below, so we banned it on him, and then we just knew they would struggle on attack from there on out. We kind of struggled on defense because I think we had a little bit of nerves, but once we got an attack, me and Callouts started IGLing everything, and we just took it over from there.
Okay.
So
for my second question, you guys seem to be a lot more utility-based than trying to look for those open-ended frags or more or less face-checking everything. Is there a reasoning behind that, or is it? I obviously know it's not confidence in shot because we saw Grixer just absolutely tearing it up as well as you. But is there a reason that you guys lean more on utility than what a lot of teams are doing nowadays?
So when it comes to like Grixer, we let him pretty much do whatever he wants. He's one of the best players in the game right now that's not in Pro League, in my personal opinion. So like when we rely on utility, it allows us to push aggressively. We're known as an aggressive team. We kind of like quote unquote ape around a lot, so we just get after it a lot. And using utility helps us get those lanes open. When we drone pretty well, we always have a lot of cutoffs. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but we always had the cutoffs, and we just kind of executed because they had the same strat every single time.
Yeah, we saw you guys more or less just constrict the site and go have fun rotating because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, and then last question for you, and then we'll get you over to face off against the guys on TSM. So, walking into this TSM matchup, is there a certain player that you're going to try and attempt to shut down?
There's more than one. Maybe Achieved and Merc. Bolo's very good, but I also think he can be shut down since he's so new to the competitive scene. He hasn't played competitive since he was younger, back in the Honor Among Thieves days. So I think if we shut down Achieved and Merc, their entry fragging abilities will just be shut down completely.
All right, well, we'll see if you have luck in such a feat. Good luck in your next matchup, Fozo. We'll be seeing you here in just a little bit.
All right.
All right, thank you once again, Stokes, for that brilliant interview. Now it's time to pick our MVPs. Mine? Well, that was just on screen. It's going to be Fozo, who I think had a great impact. Yes, even on Lion had some great impact from him, but even beyond that, right, had some really great angles he was taking on the attack, really great positioning, and was able to pick up, beautiful multi-frags for his team on at least a few rounds there, and was right at the top of the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, well, you say you say Fozo, but I'm down for more.
I know who yours is now.
Yeah, mine's definitely going to be Grixer because I'm down for people that more or less grind it out, and that's exactly what he did. He was finding those entry frags to get the team on point. That's exactly what happened. Grixer putting in a lot of work on the fragging front.
Yeah, so both those players picked. We'll try to get their stats up on screen here in just a second to see how exactly performance. Once again, a big shout out to our friends over at Siege.gg for providing us with these great stats. We can talk a little bit more about the matchups and these teams, of course, what's going into the making of these brackets and how exactly the teams are being fleshed out for them. But that has set up our final matchup now as well. We'll see TSM go up against the Pittsburg Ember. I think a lot of people at home, including TSM potentially, might have thought that match would have gone potentially quite handily over towards our bad. That was not the case. The Pittsburg Embers did a great job of fighting through thick and thin, and now come out on top and have their chance to upset, much like a lot of other teams have had here at USN.
It just didn't seem that our bad knew how to act, especially when that Lion was on the field. And, I mean, you heard the man himself. Ozo talked about exactly how they set up their offenses. They set up to try and cut off rotations, and they just constrict the site. Fantastic, but they're leaning on that utility where they have most of it at hand when they want to go for execution, and that's when things get dangerous. Our bad, which we've seen before, they can be an aggressive team. They just didn't do it on their defensive side, and that's really what ended up punishing them. They just didn't have operators to try and shut down the initial pushes of Pittsburgh, left up a lot of the map to them for free, and there you have it, Pittsburgh taking over the map.
Yep. And with that, guys, they've got their matchup set here. We'll get to see if they'll be able to make it into the West Coast qualifier. The West Coast Conference qualifier for the end of the stage here. That's what awaits them if they can make it past TSM at the end of the bracket. And meanwhile, we've got the stats from our MVP, or at least my MVP, Fozo.
Oh, okay.
Let's take a look at the main man himself. How'd he do? 11-9, not too bad there. 50% cost right in the middle, which, by the way, we should explain what cost is. We haven't really done that since we've been bringing these stats on. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's an acronym for Kill Objective. What did the S stand for?
Basically, it's just cost. Again, this
it's kill, objective, I forget what the S is, and then trade.
Yeah, it's basically how effective you are with your team. So it's literally your overall percentage out of 100% of how effective you were across all rounds in the match. So a high cost would be like anything above 65%, because that's mean you're effective in over half of your matches. So besides that, enough of his MVP. Let's get my cost up there for Grixer. 75%.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
25% better than yours.
Listen, stats don't tell the whole story, all right?
Hey, after the game, it's what's on paper.
Who was the guy clicking the button?
He was the guy clicking heads.
Not Grixer.
Yes, it was. He only clicked heads on offense.
All right, you got me there.
Yeah, I know I got you there. I'm very good at arguments, let me tell you. And look, even when I'm wrong, I'm right because I won't admit it.
All right, guys. Well, either way, that is going to close out the second matchup of the day. We do want to invite you guys to stick with us here as the third match, our final match of the day, is coming up in just a few seconds here. It's going to be right after this break. It's going to decide who goes through into the Western Conference qualifier. So stick with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the last match of the night here at the USN.